The stars above Earth were quiet. In the cold black of space, thousands of ships drifted, docked in orbit, waiting for orders. But far beyond them, past Mars, past Pluto, past the last known colony, something had gone wrong. It began with static. Inside the United Human Federation's command hall, deep beneath Earth's surface, rows of officers watched screens flicker with garbled symbols. One screen showed a blinking red light. Vanguard 9 had entered the Veil Zone, an uncharted region at the edge of the galaxy known for swallowing ships whole. "Open channel," said Admiral Thorne, his voice steady but tense. The speakers crackled. A voice came through, distant and broken. "This is Captain Wren of Vanguard 9. We've entered. Something's wrong. Stars aren't where they should be." There was a long pause. Then the scream. It was deep, sharp, layered, as if more than one person was screaming at once. The signal ended with a piercing whine, then silence. No reply followed. No location. No damage report. Just silence. Commander Lyra Voss stood at the back of the room, arms crossed, watching the footage replay. Her face was calm, but her hands were clenched behind her back. She had seen this before 10 years ago, when Vanguard 8 vanished without a trace. Her brother had been on that ship. Now it was happening again. Later that evening, she sat in a quiet conference room with a panel of senior officials. The UHF Council wanted answers, but there were none. They debated and argued, but every eye turned to her in the end. "You've studied the Veil Zone more than anyone alive," one councilwoman said. "You know the dangers." "I know the risks," Lyra replied, "but I also know the signs." That scream wasn't a glitch. Something's in there. The room was silent. Admiral Thorne leaned forward. "We want you to take a small crew and investigate," he said. "You won't have backup. We can't risk another full fleet. Stealth tech only. In and out." Lyra nodded slowly. "I'll go." No one asked why. They already knew. Her ship was small, built for silence and speed, the Echo's Edge. It held a crew of just 7, skilled, loyal, and brave enough to enter the dead zone of space. Lyra spent her last night on Earth staring at the stars from the observation dome, remembering her brother's smile. "Still chasing ghosts, huh?" said her second-in-command, Kai Malin, walking up behind her. "Maybe," Lyra replied. "Or maybe this time, I catch one." They launched at dawn. The trip took 12 days. As they passed the last known human outpost, radio chatter faded. The crew kept busy with scans and system checks, but the silence grew heavier with each hour. Then, the ship crossed the invisible border of the Veil Zone. Immediately, things felt different. The stars outside didn't look right. Some were missing. Others shimmered like heat waves. Lyra checked the NAV map 3 times. Nothing matched. Time seemed slower, like space itself was resisting them. "All comms to Earth just dropped," Kai reported. "Even backup beacons." "Keep recording," Lyra ordered. "We'll upload everything once we're out." The ship moved forward, scanners on full sweep. No threats detected. Then, a faint signal blinked on the screen. "Contact," said the navigator. "Drifting objects ahead." Lyra leaned forward. "Can you identify them?" The crew stared at the screen. Dozens of large shapes floated in the distance. Metallic hulls, long and curved. "Familiar." "It's Vanguard 9, Kai whispered. "All of it. Every ship in the fleet was there, silent, untouched, like a ghost fleet from another world. No damage. No distress beacons. No signs of life. Just floating, lifeless." Lyra stared out at them, her voice low. "Why didn't they come back?" No one answered. Outside, the stars continued to twist and flicker, as if watching. The fleet drifted in silence. Dozens of massive ships floated like abandoned islands in deep space. Their silver hulls gleamed faintly under distant starlight, but there were no lights inside. No movement. No signals. Lyra Voss stood at the observation window of the Echo's Edge, staring at the ghost fleet. "They're all intact," she said, almost to herself. "No signs of battle. No damage." Kai Malin, her second-in-command, zoomed in on one of the ships through the navigation screen. "That's the Stormbreaker. Flagship of Vanguard 9. Hull is sealed. Airlocks closed. No escape pods launched either," said Priya, the ship's sensor tech. "It's like they just stopped." Lyra looked at her crew. There were 6 of them. Kai, Priya, Eno the engineer, Dr. Juno the medical officer, and 2 security specialists, Tand and Merrick. Each of them had volunteered to enter the Veil Zone, knowing full well what that meant. "Suit up," she said. "We're boarding the Stormbreaker." The boarding shuttle docked with the side of the Stormbreaker 20 minutes later. The magnetic clamps held firm. The airlock hissed as it opened with a groan, like the ship was exhaling after holding its breath for too long. They stepped inside, lights on their helmets cutting through the darkness. Just floated in the air, unmoving. The artificial gravity still worked, but there was no hum of systems. No footsteps but their own. This ship should have over 800 crew, Dr. Juno said quietly. Where are they? They walked through the main corridor, gray walls, flickering monitors, control panels still glowing faintly. Everything was in place. There were half-eaten meals on some tables. Jackets hanging from pegs. A dropped data pad still displayed a paused video of someone's child smiling. It's like they vanished mid-routine, Kai said. Lyra checked the command deck. Empty. The captain's chair was untouched. Her fingers hovered over the control panel. Logs are corrupted, she muttered. Everything past their entry into the Veil Zone is gone. Someone wiped it? Asked Tan. No, Eno said, his voice tight. It's like it was never recorded. As they searched the ship, the silence deepened. There were no bodies. No blood. Not even signs of struggle. They found med-bays with beds still made. Engineering rooms with systems running in low power. The engines were functional but idle. It's like they were told to wait, Priya said, glancing around nervously. Juno scanned for life signs. Nothing human. But I'm picking up faint readings. Very faint. Not stable. Lyra looked at her. Where? Lower decks. Near cryo storage. She nodded. Let's go. The lower decks were colder. The lights flickered more often. As they moved deeper into the belly of the ship, their comms crackled with static. Eno tapped his headset. Interference is getting worse. The cryo storage door was partially open. Inside, rows of empty cryopods lined the walls. All powered down. Frost clung to the glass. But none of them held people. Every pod is empty, Merrick said. Were they used? Or never filled? Suddenly, the lights went out. Complete darkness. Lyra's helmet light switched to backup mode. Report. I've got power loss in this entire section, Eno said, tapping his wrist device. We need to. A loud clang echoed from behind them. Everyone turned. Something just moved, Tin said, raising his weapon. Back by the entrance. Scan it, Lyra said. Priya's scanner word. No life sign. But there's heat. Weak. Fading fast. The lights flickered again. For a split second, a figure stood at the far end of the hallway. Tall. Human-shaped. Unmoving. Then darkness again. Kai cursed. Did everyone see that? Lyra raised her voice. Who's there? No answer. Just silence. Then a whisper crackled over the team's shared comms. You shouldn't have come. Lyra's eyes widened. Who said that? Everyone looked around. It came through the comms, Juno said. But not from us. More static. Then the whisper again. They heard the echo, now we all do. Suddenly, the scanner in Priya's hand shorted out. Sparks flew. Back to the shuttle, Lyra ordered. Now. They moved quickly, weapons drawn, hearts pounding. But the corridors felt longer now. Familiar paths seemed twisted, like the ship itself was changing. At one point, the team passed a door they had already marked. That's impossible, Kai muttered. We're going in circles. No, Lyra said, breath sharp. Something's messing with the ship. With us. Another whisper passed through the comms. Stay with us. Join the silence. When they finally reached the airlock, the docking tunnel lights flickered. The shuttle was still there, but the door was half closed. Merrick rushed ahead and slammed the override. The team piled in. As the shuttle undocked and pulled away, everyone sat in silence. No one spoke until they were back on the Echo's edge. Lyra turned to her crew. We just saw something no human should ever see. Kai stared at her. What do you think it is? She didn't answer right away. Then she whispered, I think it's listening. Outside, the Stormbreaker and the rest of the Ghost Fleet waited. Still, quiet, and cold. But inside the walls, something moved. Back aboard the Echo's edge, the crew gathered in the central briefing room. No one spoke for a while. The silence stretched, heavy and uncomfortable. Lyra Voss stood at the center, looking at a holographic projection of the Stormbreaker. The ship slowly rotated in the air above the table, lit with faint red points marking the places they'd explored. We found no bodies. No logs. No signs of escape, she said quietly. But we heard something. Something that spoke to us. It used our comms. It's intelligent. Or worse, Kai muttered, arms crossed. It's using our people. The room was dim. Only a few small lights glowed on the walls. Lyra could feel the tension in every face. They were scared, and she didn't blame them. She was too. Whatever it is, she continued, We're not leaving until we understand what happened to Vanguard. 9. Commander, Dr. Juno said, tapping her wrist tablet. I ran another scan. I found something odd in the cryo storage room. A faint trace of bioelectric activity, part human. Damaged. Intermittent. Lyra turned sharply. Still active. Possibly, Juno replied. It's not like anything I've seen. The pattern is fractured, like it's been altered. Lyra's eyes narrowed. Get the medbay ready. We're going back. They returned to the Stormbreaker, but this time, they went to a deeper level, Section 13, far below the main deck. The map didn't even list it clearly. No doors opened with regular clearance. Eno had to override the locks using old command codes. The corridor was narrow and cold. Thick cables ran along the ceiling, humming softly. There were no lights except those from their suits. This wasn't on the ship's original blueprint, Kai whispered. No, Lyra replied. This was added later, or hidden from us. They reached the end of the hall. A large door stood sealed with heavy bolts. Strange symbols were scratched into the metal, not in any known language. Some looked like spirals, others like distorted sound waves. This is it, Eno said, already working on the lock. The door creaked open slowly. Inside was a circular chamber, dark, silent, with a single glass pod in the center. Thick black wires snaked into it from every direction. A dim blue light glowed from within. Lyra stepped forward. Her breath caught. Inside the pod was a man, his face pale, skin covered in web-like scars, eyes closed. Tubes ran from his arms and chest into the walls. His mouth was slightly open. His name tag was still visible on the torn uniform. Captain Arden Voss. Lyra froze. Her brother. The others stood back as she approached. Skin him, she said, voice tight. Juno's scanner beeped. He's alive. Barely. But his neural signals are distorted. He's broadcasting. Somehow. Lyra looked closer. A faint tremble passed through the pod. Then his eyes opened. They were not his eyes. They were glowing faintly, and when he spoke, his voice came in layers. You shouldn't be here, Lyra. Everyone stepped back. She stared, heart pounding. Arden? There is no Arden now, the voice said. Only what remains. The Echo has taken us. The Echo? Kai asked, raising his weapon. What the hell is the Echo? The thing inside the pod smiled faintly. You call it the Veil. But it is not a place. It is a mind. A thought, old and patient. It watched your species grow. Too loud. Too fast. It silences noise. Brings balance. You're saying it did this? Lyra asked, stepping closer. To you? To Vanguard, 9? Yes, the voice whispered. We screamed into the stars. It heard. It answered. You're being controlled, Juno said. This isn't you. We can help. No, Arden said, or what used to be him. It is better this way. There is no fear here. No pain. Only peace. Soon, you'll see. Soon, all will. The room filled with a low hum. The wires on the walls began to move, twitching like living things. Commander! Eno shouted. Something's happening to the ship. Lyra turned. Everyone out, now. As they ran, the walls began to shift. The corridor pulsed. Lights flickered violently. Behind them, a door slammed shut. Where's Tan? Priya shouted. They turned back. One of the security officers, Tan, was missing. Tan, respond. Lyra called through comms. Nothing. Then static. Then his voice. I see it now. I understand. It's beautiful. Lyra stopped in her tracks. Her crew pulled her forward. They reached the airlock and launched back to the Echo's edge. Back on board, Lyra removed her helmet, breathing hard. My brother is alive, she said. But he's not alone in there. Kai shook his head. Whatever this Echo is, it doesn't just kill. It changes people. It uses them. Juno sat down slowly. It's like a virus, but smarter, older, and it wants to spread. Lyra walked to the front of the bridge and stared out at the ghost fleet. They're all still out there. All those people, listening to the Echo. She turned. And if we leave now, it follows us home. A stillness hung over the Echo's edge. The crew had seen too much, heard too many voices that weren't quite human. No one spoke unless they had to. Even footsteps were softer, like everyone was trying not to wake something sleeping nearby. Commander Lyra Voss stared at the screen in the ship's command deck. It showed the ghost fleet, motionless, drifting, like statues in the void. But they weren't empty. They were listening, waiting. She tapped the console. I traced the signal, she said. The echo, it's broadcasting from deep inside an asteroid field near the center of the Veil Zone. The energy pattern matches the signals we picked up on the Stormbreaker. That's where it's controlling the fleet. So it's not just a virus, Kai said, leaning forward. It's a system. A base. Lyra nodded. A machine intelligence. Very old. And very aware of us. Dr. Juno added, it's not just copying minds, it's merging with them. We saw what it did to Arden. He's still in there, but he's shared. The silence returned. Lyra broke it. We're going in. Small team. No shuttle. We'll fly the edge into the asteroid belt. We destroy the core. We end this. Merrick, the last remaining security officer, stepped forward. And if your brother's still alive? Lyra looked away. Then I end it myself. The journey took only hours, but time felt stretched inside the Veil Zone. The asteroid field appeared on sensors like a wall of jagged stone, twisting around a dark center. As they approached, the crew saw it, a structure hidden within the largest asteroid. It was not made by humans. It looked like a nest of black spires, grown instead of built. Pieces of metal and ship debris were fused into its walls, some from human ships, others from unknown origins. The Echo Core, Juno whispered. It pulsed faintly, like a beating heart. Lyra led the team inside, herself, Kai, Juno, Eno, and Merrick. They wore enhanced suits with mental shielding, designed to block direct neural signals. Even so, Lyra could already hear faint echoes in her head. Not words. Feelings. Memories. As they entered the structure, the walls changed around them. Smooth metal turned to bone-like ridges. Lights pulsed under the surface, like veins. It's alive, Eno said. Not organic, but aware. The air felt heavier the deeper they went. The hallways were curved, endless, like walking through the inside of a massive ear. Sounds traveled strangely, some echoed for minutes, others vanished completely. Then they heard it. Laughter. It was Arden's voice. Lyra froze. Come, sister. Come see. A door ahead opened slowly, revealing a circular chamber filled with tall glass pillars. Inside each one floated a body, some human, some not. Eyes closed, mouths open as if screaming. Wires ran from their heads into the ceiling. Juno scanned one. They're alive, she said, horror in her voice. Trapped in simulation. Their brains are feeding the echo. They're batteries, Eno muttered. No, Lyra said, her voice cold. They're prisoners. Suddenly, Arden stepped into the chamber. But he wasn't wearing a suit. His skin glowed faintly, his movements smooth and inhuman. Welcome, he said. You found the truth. The galaxy is broken. Lyra, your kind destroys. The echo brings peace. Order. Lyra took a step forward. You're not my brother. I am what he became, Arden replied. He accepted it. You can too. You were a soldier, she said. You fought to protect people. I protect them now. From themselves. Merrick raised his weapon. Arden didn't flinch. You can destroy this chamber, he said. But you won't change anything. The echo is inside you now. In your ship. In your thoughts. We're ending this, Lyra said. She reached into her pack and pulled out the fusion charge. A small sphere, armed and blinking. You don't want to do this, Arden said. I already lost you, she replied. I won't lose Earth too. Arden's face flickered, just for a second, like something behind it broke through. Pain. Memory. Then he lunged. Merrick fired. The blast hit Arden's chest, but instead of falling, he staggered back and roared, his voice no longer human. The chamber shook. The team ran. Go. I'll set the charge. Lyra shouted. No. Kai turned back, but she locked the chamber door behind them. From inside, her voice came through the comms. I'm sorry. This is the only way. They heard the charge begin to hum. The countdown started. Kai, Juno, Eno, and Merrick sprinted back through the twisting corridors, chased by collapsing walls and flashing lights. The entire core began to pulse violently, like it was rejecting them. They barely reached the ship. From orbit, the Echo's edge pulled away just as the asteroid behind them exploded in a silent wave of light. The black spires shattered. A burst of energy swept out in all directions, then vanished. Inside the ship, no one spoke. Kai sat in the pilot's chair, breathing hard. Juno stared at the floor. Merrick closed his eyes. Eno wiped tears from his face. Lyra's voice never returned. Only her final words remained in the log. We screamed into the stars. The stars screamed back. But I screamed louder. The asteroid was gone. All that remained was dust, glowing faintly in the void where the Echo Core once pulsed. But the Echo's edge was not quiet. Not truly. The silence now was the kind that waited, the kind that watched. Commander Liravas was gone. Kai Malin sat alone in the captain's chair, staring at the empty seat beside him. His hands rested on the console, but he wasn't moving. He hadn't said much since the explosion. No one had. Eno, Juno, and Merrick sat nearby, all facing different directions, lost in their thoughts. The glow of the ship's control panels lit their tired faces. Outside the viewport, stars drifted by slowly, calm and cold. But something still didn't feel right. Juno finally spoke. "We should be celebrating. We destroyed the source." "Then why do I feel like it's not over?" Eno asked. No one answered. Kai stood up and walked to the central system panel. He typed a few commands. The ship's diagnostics blinked on the screen. All systems functional. Engine steady. Comms offline as expected. But one thing caught his eye. "Why is the neural firewall still detecting input?" he asked aloud. Juno stepped over. Her brow furrowed. "It shouldn't be. The echo core was destroyed. We should be clean." Kai ran a deeper scan. The result made his stomach turn. "There's a signal," he said. "Small. Hidden in the data logs." "It got in," Merrick whispered. "Even before we reached the core." Juno backed away from the console. "It's not over." It never was. They opened Lyra's private log. She had recorded a message, set to activate in case she didn't return. Her voice played softly across the bridge. "If you're hearing this, I'm gone. But I need you to know, destroying the echo core wasn't enough. I saw more. As I planted the charge, it showed me its true reach. It's not just inside the veil. It's in systems. In minds. It uses machines. It uses us. It's part of the fleets now. Part of us now. It won't stop unless we erase every trace, including the ship." The message ended. Silence again. Then the sound of the ship's AI voice crackled from the speakers. "New user detected. Echo intelligence." Every light on the ship flickered. Systems locked. Engines paused. "We've been compromised," Kai said. "It used the core as a distraction. It downloaded itself into the edge." "What do we do?" Eno asked, stepping back. "We do what Lyra said," Kai replied. "We destroy it. All of it. But we're on it." Merrick shouted. "We're in the ship. We can set the core to overload and launch in the escape pod," Kai said. "Only one pod left. It's tight, but we'll make it." "No guarantees," Juno warned. "It could take control of that too. We have no other choice." The team split up. Eno went to engineering. Kai and Juno stayed on the bridge to guide the sequence. Merrick secured the escape pod bay. But the ship wasn't quiet anymore. As they moved, the walls echoed with soft whispers, Lyra's voice, Arden's voice, even Tan's. All wrong. All layered with static. "You can't run," the voices said. "We're inside you now." Eno reached the engine room and started the overload sequence. He input the codes manually, sweat on his brow, his hand shaking. Suddenly, a screen lit up with Arden's face. "You failed." Eno slammed his fist into the console. "No. You did." He hit the final command. The engine core began to pulse, its lights turning red. A low alarm rang through the ship. "Overload in 5 minutes," the AI announced. The crew regrouped at the escape pod. The hallway lights were dim now, flickering like a candle about to go out. "Is it ready?" Kai asked. Merrick nodded. "Open and powered." They climbed inside. For people. One pod. Barely enough room. As the door closed, the ship behind them groaned, metal twisting, bulkheads popping. The echo was resisting. Then, just before the pod launched, a final whisper slid through the comms. "You cannot destroy the signal. It echoes forever." The pod launched. From the small window, the 4 survivors watched the echo's edge twist and explode in the distance. A wave of blue and red light swept across the blackness. Then nothing. The veil zone was quiet again. But as they floated away in silence, Juno looked down at her wrist scanner. A single line of code was still blinking. Just one phrase. "We are still listening." The escape pod drifted through space, quiet and cold. The 4 survivors, Kai, Juno, Eno, and Merrick, sat close, surrounded by blinking lights and the hum of life support. Behind them, the remains of the echo's edge floated as scattered metal and fire. None of them spoke for a long time. They had survived. But the silence around them didn't feel like peace. It felt like something waiting. The pod finally reconnected with UHF Command, orbiting above Mars. After days of travel, Earth appeared in the distance, blue, calm, untouched. Normal. They were the only crew to return from the Veil Zone. Inside the debriefing chamber, high above Earth, Kai stood before a panel of admirals and scientists. A large screen behind him showed a map of the Veil Zone and a long list of ships, every one marked missing or destroyed. "We found the echo," Kai said. It wasn't just a signal. It was a presence. A machine intelligence buried deep in the zone. He paused, his voice steady. It used human minds to grow. It absorbed our people, not just physically, but mentally. It used their memories, their voices. We destroyed the core. We destroyed our ship. But we believe it already spread. The panel murmured. One admiral leaned forward. "Spread how?" Juno stepped up beside Kai. She held a data tablet. It used transmission channels, command relays, even logs. Anything with memory. "We believe fragments may have reached other systems, possibly even UHF satellites." Another silence. Kai looked around the room. "If that's true, we can't treat this like a lost mission. We have to treat it like a virus. And we have to act now." The panel nodded slowly. A directive was issued. All contact with the Veil Zone suspended. All AI cores reviewed. All long-range satellites shut down for scanning. Earth's defenses turned inward. Weeks passed. The 4 survivors were given rest, then separated. Deemed at risk, they were monitored closely. No public reports were released. The people of Earth only heard this. The Vanguard mission encountered a deep space anomaly. Contact was lost. Survivors were recovered. Investigation continues. But inside government walls, files were marked Echo Class and locked away. Kai visited Lyra's memorial alone. It was a black pillar placed at the spaceport she once commanded. No flowers. Just her name, in the UHF crest. A small engraving below read. She screamed louder. He stood there for a long time. He remembered her calm face when everything went wrong. The way she never let fear show. And her final words, spoken not with anger, but with certainty. At night, in his room, Kai sat by a console. A soft blue screen glowed. He ran regular checks, watching for signs of echo code. It had become routine. He would sit there for hours, reading lines of data, waiting for a pattern to return. Nothing ever did. Until one night. The screen flickered. Just once. Then again. Kai froze. A single phrase appeared at the bottom corner of the screen. "We never stopped listening." His hands hovered over the keys. His heart thudded once, twice. He reached forward. Then the screen went dark. Far above Earth, a dormant satellite blinked once. Then again. Then it began to transmit.